my cousins were telling me like, "Oh, you're a prince. Like you are pure royalty." So when I did go there, I did not. I literally, if I didn't want to touch the ground, they probably would have carried me around. Someone pulled me aside and they're like, "Hey, AEW is a thing. Someone said that they want your contact information. It's cool if I pass it along." I was like, "Sure." It's like AEW wants to sign you. This is before they bought ROH. So people that think that I'm signed to Ring of Honor, I'm signed to the AEW. That's what this is. And I'm watching Andrade. And I remember I told him, I was like, "Dude, I don't give a about these moves. I just want to slap you in the face." Yeah. Because everyone's having these matches, and I want a moment. I felt like at times, being biracial, I would miss the boat on like a lot of Black culture stuff. Travel the world and wrestle, and that is our job. Like.
To LiMPiN Ain't Easy, the only show of its kind where the stars of professional wrestling's past, present, and future tell their tales of tasting the bitterness of defeat on their road to victory. Oh, so sweet. I am your handy captivating host with the most metal-to-bone ratio of any pundit, personality, or professional in the sports entertainment industry. My name is Timmy Baltimore. Hey, I want to thank you if you have already subscribed, liked, engaged on our social media. But if you haven't, be a lot cooler if you did. So please do us a favor, click subscribe to this channel, to the podcast, engage on our social medias, TikTok, X, Facebook, Instagram, at the handle @Timmy Baltimore. It's the only way we can continue to grow and bring you these great, unprecedented, revealing sit-down chats with some of the best stars that professional wrestling has to offer today. Speaking of which, our guest on this episode, it's a bit of a mystery. Only begun to scratch the surface as far as knowing what this talent is all about. That's why this interview, this episode, this conversation, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be very interesting and educational for us all. You have seen him in All Elite Wrestling. He is on AEW Dynamite, Collision, Ring of Honor. Good Lord. He's a star in the making. In my opinion, no doubt about it. As all the necessities, the look, the promo, the in-ring abilities, and it's only a matter of time, I believe, till fate intervenes and he begins to really climb the ranks and become more of a household name. Also, speaking of unprecedented, this is a first for LiMPiN Ain't Easy. So put on your nicest sweatpants, maybe look in the mirror and put that cowlick down, because we have royalty on the show today. That's right. Our guest is a legitimate African prince, a Cameroonian prince. No, this is not like a rib or a joke. This is not coming to America pun. None of that. He is a legitimate African prince. He's also the bull elephant of the tag team that is the Gates of Agony. Please join me in welcoming to the program, Bishop Kaun. My name is Timmy Baltimore. Welcome to LiMPiN Ain't Easy. My guest on the show this week is a man who has traveled across the world, has made his way through the ranks of independent wrestling, has made his way to national companies. And when you look at him, it's almost a no-brainer that if there was a list with check boxes for what it took, what makes a wrestling superstar, what makes a superstar, period, you check every box. His name is Kaun. Kaun, welcome.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good, man. That's all. Yep, that's all true, man.
No, I've heard it my whole career, so
nothing new. Kaun, this is a show where we kind kind of dive into the things that you have had to overcome to get where you are and to get where you're going ultimately. I believe that there's not a person who makes it, whatever that means in wrestling, whatever success is in wrestling to the individual, be it becoming a household name, selling out arenas, contracts, whatever wrestling immortality and success is to you. Anybody who's gone for it has overcame a great deal. I don't think people understand the level of dedication and sacrifice that comes with this thing of ours.
Really?
Yeah. So I also think this is one of the reasons I'm so excited about this interview is because you're kind of a mystery. And when I say kind of, you're a mystery to a lot of people. You show up, you kick ass. And you walk away, but there's knowing you from our time in MCW in Maryland. I know there's a lot more to the story. Can you talk a little bit about your upbringing and where you came from?
Born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, back in like 1990, and I would say that I grew up in like a middle class family, but I always had to look at it from the perspective of my parents gave me everything that they didn't have. My dad immigrated to the States from Bua, Cameroon. He was homeless for a period of his life. He had nothing. And he went on to go get his master's and is like a computer engineer. My mom too, she had 9 brothers and sisters, came from a huge family, but on a farm. They were very poor. She went to the University of Minnesota, and I remember her telling me that she would work 7 days a week to provide for my sister and I. Like they worked really hard to give us everything that they didn't have. And then kind of as we grew up into this like middle class family in Minneapolis, I feel like I had like I guess all American childhood. Got to play every sport I've ever wanted to try. She wanted us to try and experience everything. So I played everything from soccer, baseball. I tried golf, tennis, swimming, all of it, because she just wanted us to see what things we liked and to have those experiences. I even got to like travel and go camping all over the U.S. Again, just experiences that my mom wanted us to have and make sure that we were like well cultured. And yeah, I mean, everything I kind of wanted to do, I got to try to do.
That's pretty cool. So it was no complaints about childhood, well-rounded. So Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you're the son of parents who immigrated over, and that is in and of itself its own. From what I've heard, pressure in a sense of your parents are sacrificing. So it's very important to make the most of that sacrifice in your life. Did you feel that pressure?
I don't think I felt it as much as other kids did. I'm sure my cousins felt it more from their parents. Because my dad's brothers came over as well. And like they had much more pressure on them to like go to school for certain things. Like, hey, you need to be a doctor. My dad didn't really put that on me, but he did have this expectation of you can't quit anything. That's one. Like he put me into like he was my soccer coach for I don't know how many years. I quit after some time because he was way too hard on me. Same thing with karate. Like he was the guy that took me there, and he had this expectation of me. And I feel like I was just like, I guess I'm very soft. Like my mom loved my sister and I. She was very like the emotional, nurturing one, of course. And like my dad was way too hard on me. I'd just be like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah,
I quit. Yeah.
Yeah, ask your mom. What did your dad say? Don't worry about what dad said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The interesting thing about your history is a little known fact, and it kind of gets spliced in almost as a piece of and doing commentary myself. I know I'll drop this little piece of knowledge of what your roots are and who you are and who your family is back in Cameroon. Can you talk a little bit about that, what it was and what happened and what it is now?
Yeah, so I don't even know when I found this out, what age I was at, but my grandfather was the chief of our village back in Bua. Our tribe is called Bokwari. People hear that and they like can't rationalize what that actually means because they're so sheltered here, I feel like, in the US. But he was the chief of our village. That means when I went back there, I got to go back there about a decade ago. That means he had a house that was split into two. He had multiple wives. He had kids with both these women. And like, there's these chiefs. There's chiefs in all these different villages. They kind of rule over the land. You have certain political power. And then after he passed away, the chiefdom got handed down. So then when I was there, I saw this new procession of the chief being like anointed. And my cousins were telling me like, "Oh, yeah, you're a prince. Like you are pure royalty." So when I did go there, I did not. I literally, if I didn't want to touch the ground, they probably would have carried me around. I didn't have to wash my clothes. They fed me. They cooked all of our meals. We had a driver that took us everywhere. Like we did not have to worry about a single thing. And like the whole procession too with the chief, hundreds of people came to our compound. All of the different villages, all these people came and they brought like offerings up to like, so they brought these pigs to be offered up. And like everybody got a piece of the pig, and like it was all the men in the front and the women were behind the houses cooking. It was like this whole procession. It was I never would have expected like to see something like that. Yeah, royalty, like pure African royalty, Cameroonian royalty. If I wanted to go back there and if I wanted to play the political game, become the chief, I probably could. So
I have no doubt if
yeah,
you decided to go back there, you definitely would be running it. I that's beautiful, man. Like what a what like I'm trying to put myself in your shoes in that moment of this like piece of you that you didn't even know was truth, and it's just unfolding and it's building and building and building. And it's like, so this is really interesting because you said people can't really wrap their heads around it here.
Yeah.
And is it like it's basically the wisest, oldest, not necessarily oldest, but maybe you have to have some years, I'm assuming, but like it's the wisest people with the most probably even tempers, probably the people that don't want to rule become the chief, or no, it's wild. Tell me.
I feel like it's more of like a political game.
Okay.
So when my grandfather was the chief, I feel like there's people trying to vie to get that position, but with just like the power that my grandfather had at the time, like they weren't going to let that go. So when he passed, my dad and my uncles all live in the States besides one of them. And the one that lived back in Cameroon didn't want to become the chief. But the people wanted him to be chief because he was actually in Cameroon. They were like, "Why, we're not going to let some guys that don't even live in the country come back." But that's what happened. Like,
right.
So whoever has like the most, and then my family also doesn't want to give it up. Like that's our name over there. So we're doing whatever we have to do to kind of maintain that control. I mean, it is what it is.
Is that dangerous going over there? Because your family, they say, "Hey, you guys are all the way over in the States. You're gonna come over here." Like, is there a Game of Thrones kind of vibe?
I don't think it's that like
it's
intense,
not that deep. Okay.
But it's not the safest place to go. There's a lot of like militias going on over there. You can land, and the moment you land, it's kind of like anywhere though. You land and people are constantly asking and begging for stuff. Everyone's trying to hustle. But driving there, you will get stopped by these not political parties. I guess group of people with guns, and like, "Hey, you got to give us X amount of money to keep going," and you just throw them some cash, and you can keep on your way. But that does happen over there,
like a toll booth, but with AKs.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, because there's probably a real struggle to make a living over there and to keep a roof. So you got to do like it's. You can't judge until you've walked a mile in those shoes.
Exactly.
I feel
like when I went over there too, I didn't have an idea of what this really was going to be. Again, because like what you see on TV is what your perception is of countries in Africa. And then you go there and there's not really like a middle class. There's a lot of poverty. But then I've said this in other interviews before. I'm like, there's literally mansions. And people are like, "Oh, there's no way there's mansions out there." Yeah, there is. It's like literally Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like my uncle has a mansion and has a driver and a server, and that's what it was. Like,
wow.
So people have money over there for sure.
Now, when your dad came over here, was there like what? Maybe this is too personal, and you feel free to say you don't know or you don't want to answer. But when you have that kind of power and you have this house split in half and these two families and you're the chief, what's the incentive to leave that power and lifestyle?
I'm not sure what his decision was behind that, but I know there was I think there's still like a lottery system to get people over to come continue their education. Because when he was back over there, he went to a boarding school, and then he ended up getting to some school in Pennsylvania to go to college. I feel like that's probably the biggest thing, like I guess a better life, or come chase this American dream and go to college.
And for you guys as well.
Yeah.
For the kids. Do you think there's some like I left my heart in Cameroon kind of deal? Was there any sadness that you saw in the part of your parents about leaving?
He has expressed, like, my dad goes back every year. He has a house out there. He goes back for months at a time just because a lot of people have left that community. So he goes, and like all of our ancestors are buried on our property. So I think he does have like this emotional tie. So he goes back every year for some time. And then it was like really peaceful too. It was very slow. Like you can just relax and hang out all day. He can work remote, so he can work from wherever he is in the world. And I do feel like he probably like, there's some like connection back there. That's why he has to go back all the time.
So you are in the United States. This is before, obviously, you've gone back over there and kind of found that connection that you weren't aware of. So what growing up was something you dealt with, or was there anything in your life that you had to deal with to overcome that was glaring as an obstacle?
I don't think anything was necessarily an obstacle, but I felt like at times being biracial, I would miss the boat on like a lot of Black culture stuff. Your dad being an immigrant, I never listened to hip hop music growing up. I didn't listen to rap music. I listened to African music and reggae, like, or whatever my mom was listening to, Michael Jackson, Prince, the Beatles. There's like this weird duality, but like I wasn't privy to Black culture stuff. And like people couldn't understand that. I'm like, this is not what it's like over in Cameroon. And then also just trying to like identify my own identity. I would never, of course, being brown, being Black, you can't fit in with the white kids. But then with the Black kids, I'm like, I'm still a little off just because I can't completely relate. So I've just tried to find people that are biracial. I'm like, okay, other mixed kids who come from this duality, we can relate, even if their parents aren't immigrants, but we can understand that like there's two sides of these fences, and like we're just in the middle, and we kind of got to figure that out. That's
heavy, man. That's really heavy, right? Like, because your identity is when you're developing it as a kid, it's wrapped up in all types of different things. And when you're facing, rejection or not fitting in from these places where you feel like these people look like you should be fitting in. Did that lead to any sort of, anger on your part, or did you just adapt?
I feel like I just adapted. Because other than that, I feel like I was just like the weird kid. I played sports, but like I didn't care. Like I wasn't gung ho about sports. Like I liked pro wrestling, and I liked drawing, and liked music and painting and stuff. I didn't care to like fit these boxes that they had for me. Oh, this Black kid who's going to want to play football or whatever. Like I don't give a shit. Like I played, but like I did not care. I was like always against the trends. I feel like I was late for trends, but that was my decision. I didn't want to be a part of this group that was like, oh, let's all follow this herd. I'm like, I'll get around to it when I get around to that.
Yeah, make sure it's worth it, right? Yeah, and you that's one of the things that kind of attracted me to you when I met you, is like you're tough to put, everybody wants to be put in a box, and it's real easy, but you have a very like kind of artistic soul, and but you're also clearly a uber athlete. So it's again, it's that duality, right? Where do I fit in the world? I think the answer may be like what you're doing is I'm going to carve my own niche.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know,
Mhm.
so with what did you? Where'd you go after Minneapolis?
Uh, I did like my first year of college at the University of Minnesota. Way too big of a school for me. I kind of wanted to get away. A couple of my friends were going to this small college called Luther in Decorah, Iowa, which is like super small town. I ended up going there for 3 years and again played football, but I think that's when I kind of figured out like you talk about impressing your parents. It's like, okay, maybe I'll try computer engineering, computer science, didn't like it. Tried architecture, didn't like it. I was like, you know what? I always drew growing up. I think I could probably make a career at whatever this art thing is. So then with playing football and majoring in art, I just kind of, I don't know, going to college too was an awesome experience. I got to try as many things as possible and saw what stick. And finding art and design and graphic design, I was like, okay, here's the one avenue that I actually really like.
The wrestling dream. So it started like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of kids. It sounds like a guilty pleasure. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like they gave us a lot of ways to make wrestling cool back then. Before
No.
Stone Cold, but just Austin 316, it was like this
Mm-hmm.
guy flexing on your shirt, and it's like, come
Yeah.
on. How am I going to go to school wearing this? Go on
Right.
now. What was your first memory of professional wrestling?
Uh, that group of childhood friends that I had, two of them, they were watching wrestling and they were like big into Degeneration X. So this might have been like 98, 99. And I remember I went to one of their houses and they like put this tape in and it was all Triple H, X Pac, Shawn Michaels. I was like, I don't know what the hell this is. But I feel like right after that, every time we went to the video store, I was renting out like old 98 No Way Out, No Mercy, WrestleMania VHS tapes or DVDs at the time. Once I found out what Raw was on, I would literally take VHS tape every Raw and SmackDown I could. I'd beg my mom for pay-per-views. I was just like obsessed, like badly. WWE magazine, and this is probably why I got into graphic design. I'd get the magazines, I'd cut pictures out, and I'd make my own collages, and I'd frame them and put them up in my room. Like I was a diehard.
You were in. That's so cool to hear, man. Like you may have been because I'm a little older than you, and by a little. And
Mhm.
I remember the first time I saw wrestling, and it was around the time of the Mega Powers, and
Mhm.
I immediately was just because I was laid out in like hospitals and stuff. So this was
Yeah.
everything I couldn't be, and
Mhm.
this was just an escape. So once I got out, like it was like trying to back catalog and find out
Yeah.
what happened. Where is
Mhm.
the and that feeling of going in the grocery store and seeing these wild pictures of these bloody men, like, and I
Yeah.
where is this is happening in the world? Like,
Yep.
what is this? Uh,
Mhm.
did did you did you besides being a fan and being it's obsessed in it being your quiet hobby, or maybe not quiet, did you start to get the bug at what point?
Uh, to do
And by
it
the
at
yeah, by the bug I mean to do it.
definitely at that age. The Hardy Boys are my favorite, and they came out with their first like DVD, and I saw that they did their own trampoline backyard wrestling stuff. So I was like, Mom, we got to go get a trampoline, which I which she was like, unfortunately, like did enough chores to get one because I feel like I always had to like pay for things, but it was by doing chores. Got a trampoline, put that in the backyard. I literally made schematics. I was going to get these posts. I was going to take water hose. She wasn't going to let me go that crazy, but I was prepared to do it. Like I was going to do this ring in the backyard. But I did have the trampoline. So then my friend and I literally started out wrestling in my living room and we would film that. And then once I got the trampoline every summer for like 3 or 4 summers, backyard trampoline wrestling, I have all my DVDs of us filming these shows. Um, that was like the start. And like we stole these gym mats from this like creative center 2 blocks away and used that as like the padding on the outside, taking
Yeah,
bumps. Yeah, taking bumps on the ground. Like
right. No,
yeah,
just complete
I was going
reckless.
hell. Yep. But like I loved it, man. I was ready to do it at like 10 years old.
Wow. What was
Mhm.
your can I embarrass you for a minute? What was
I
your
don't mind.
wrestling
Uh,
name?
I had a couple characters, but Double X was like my main like heavyweight champion character.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Did he do like what was his deal? What was his did he
Uh,
have a thing?
I came out to X is Gonna Give It To You by DMX.
Oh, beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Like, perfect. That's it. That
Yeah.
works now.
Yep. Yep. I feel like I always try to like model him after like Triple H. So
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. That was
Mhm.
your guy for better or worse for a while.
Definitely it was Jeff Hardy, but I feel like Triple H was like if I was gonna do in-ring work, it was gonna be like him. Yeah.
Interesting. So
Mm.
you like you enjoyed the more plotting kind of
Yeah.
deliberate heel style.
Style for yeah, but Jeff Hardy was like he was the man. He was my guy.
He was the guy. Yeah.
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 Mm.
So you are I think probably reaching at some point to decide to get into the business, like
Yeah.
actually making that decision. Was that a crisis of career in a sense because you had to leave one to pursue something not guaranteed?
Not career. It's actually funny that I just thought about this. So the Seth Rollins WWE documentary came out maybe in like 2020, 2016. And I remember sitting in my apartment in Minnesota waiting for that to air. And I watched that. My girlfriend at that time, like I watched it and I was like, I need to be a pro wrestler. And she thought I was kidding. I was like, no, I need that video, like other than the Hardy Boys DVD, like gave me goosebumps and it made me feel like a kid again. I was like, I got to do it. Like there's no question after this. Otherwise, I'm gonna regret the rest of my life, and I have to go for this. So within a week, of course, like finding websites at that time for wrestling schools is hard, especially in Minnesota. There was nothing out there, but
Really?
I did find a school at that time. I feel like his name's Ed Sharkey. He was an
Yeah. Oh yeah.
old
Oh yeah.
WWF ref. He had a school, and I found it in St. Paul. And I remember reaching out. I went there. I didn't know what to expect. I literally saw like I walked through this like weird storage facility and this sunken in ring, and I just hear these two dudes screaming and like bumping on one another. And I meet him, and he's just like, "Okay, this is how much it costs." He's like, "You're already in shape." He's like, "You're already ahead of the people that I got here." I was like, "Cool, I'm down to sign up. It costs $3,000 or whatever. Like, when's the next time you start a new class? I'm in it." Funny enough, I ended up moving to Maryland, but like that 2015, 2016, seeing that movie or the documentary, I'm like, yeah, I'm going for it. Like, I already got my degree. I can attempt this dream, and if I fail, at least I can go back to my regular job.
Because there's a window with wrestling. There really is, obviously, because
Yeah.
it's so physically demanding.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about the Seth Rollins DVD that really inspired you?
There's just this scene when he's coming back from his like when he tore his meniscus or something, and the vignettes of like him training, coming back, like getting reassurance and making sure that his knee's okay. And like the way that they put that together reminded me of like the My Sacrifice Creed, My Desire videos that they used to drop back in the early 2000s.
So good.
Yeah. And like that's just like the connection that I made in my brain at that time. Like, oh, this reminds me of this. I love these videos. Passion is like reignited.
Wow.
Mm,
Wow. Okay. So Ed Sharkey, yeah, he's a well-known
yeah.
personality in the industry,
I
obviously.
bet.
So Ed, you did not sign up at Ed Sharkey's.
Mm-mm.
What
I ended up
brought you to
moving.
Maryland?
Ex-girlfriend got
Okay.
a job in Maryland, and then but it's funny enough, I actually ran into Ed maybe like 2 years ago. I did a show in Minnesota, and he was standing by the door watching me. And I was walking out of the building. He stopped me. He's like, you're really good. And he gave me some feedback. And I was like, funny enough, I actually met you like 8 years ago. I was gonna sign up at your school, and I was like, I just wanted to. I said thank you to him. I was like, you did nothing for me, but like, thank you. Like I got to see your school. I was already initiating, trying to get into wrestling, and I just want to let you know that like I did it. Like I'm doing it.
Clearly.
So yeah, yeah,
Yeah. He probably looked, I can imagine he looked at you and goes, I got these two schlups out there. Look at you. I
yeah.
can make some money with you, man. Come on.
Right. Yeah.
The MCW Pro Wrestling Training Center in Joppa, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously it's a place near and dear to both of us. I started at the Bone Breakers in early 2000s, which was they were still figuring it out. It was a little bit more of a pirate ship at that point, but I remember walking in and you had your Maryland mainstays, and then you get guys like Joey Matthews at the time, Christian York, Alexis Lurie, Mickey James, and I remember looking at them and going, those are the cool kids. I need to figure out how to travel with them because they move and shake and they make it happen. And so what was your experience coming into the MCW Pro Wrestling Training Center?
It's a little surreal. I remember, so I moved to Maryland. I think I waited a year because my mom was of course I was in my 20s at this point, so she wasn't gonna help me pay for this. I had to get a real job because I was there for probably 6 months. I didn't have a job at the time because I was still supposed to be moved over. Once I got the job, signed up immediately. But prior to signing up, I went to the school twice and I watched 2 full practices. And I remember sitting there with Phoenix Fury and he was just kind of spitting game to me, telling me about the school. I was watching all these things. I was like, all right, before I sign up, to prepare myself, other than being physically in shape, I would go to trampoline parks and I'd practice bumping. I would watch these YouTube videos, and I remember seeing Patrick Clark. The way that he would snap these bumps off. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to these parks and do a little bit of rolls. Of course, it's not bumping on a trampoline. You learn that real quick, but that's not what it feels like. But just I wanted to get the form down so that when I did sign up and I started, and the second week we practiced bumps, Dean Guttridge, one of the trainers at the time, he was like, you're kind of natural at this. Have you done this before? I'm like, no, but I definitely went to go practice. So
yeah. So when you came, it was the trainers were Dean Guttridge, who he'd had a developmental contract at one point. He's a great coach.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys who he's good for wrestling, but he just doesn't. He's over it.
Yeah.
But he can't. He's a wealth of knowledge, and RJ was the head coach at the time.
Yeah.
The Bruiser, rest his soul. He's what I mean. It was a rarity, I know, to find a RJ Meyer, the Bruiser, at that level, because that was a guy who could have gone as far as he wanted, and he had a family, so he stayed at MCW and became basically the mayor. What do you remember about the process of? Because I was somewhere else at that point, so I missed the early part of your training. What do you remember about the hardest parts? Was there anything that sticks out as a real struggle, and what came natural to you?
I think the biggest struggle was, I think I started at 26 and I turned 27 right after I started. The biggest hurdle for me mentally was sucking at something at that age. That's very humbling when I guess most athletic things would come easy to me, but learning of course, locking up, wrist locks, hammer locks, you're getting all this information very quickly and you're supposed to retain it. And then when some things wouldn't click immediately, that would be frustrating. Because it wasn't the physical stuff. It was just trying to remember shit. And I tell people now too that ask me oh, I did this, I drove this far or whatever. I'm like, we all did that. It was twice a week, but I was working full time. I'd go from work. I'd drive an hour to work. I'd drive an hour to training. I'd probably an hour and a half, 2 hours of training going from DC area to Joppa.
Oh, that traffic.
For 4 hours. Yeah. Ooh. But you train for 4 hours, barely have eaten because that drive, I'm not packing no lunch. And then just that's when the grind started. And I remember my partner, my old partner Moses, he said this when I started. He was like, at some point, you're going to hate this shit. You're going to hate it. It's a fucking grind. And you learn that real quick. And there was definitely points where I'm I did not enjoy it. But I still went there because there'd be the little bright spots. I'm like, oh, this is a lot of fun. But then there'd be days I'm like, I fucking hate this. I'm tired of doing push-ups. I'm already in better shape than half the people here. But like, you would have to do these drills and like support your people. But in my mind, it's also a competition. So like, why do I really got to support these people? But
total mind F, right? Yeah.
yeah.
I remember I had come back around the school right when Moses started. And he blew me away with he was the only guy that could cut a promo, new guy. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's gonna be something. And then he said something very profound to you, that at some point in the very near future, this thing is going to it becomes like an abusive relationship. Like,
yeah,
she don't love me, and I love why that's what she loves me. She's cheating on me. She's seeing him go further than me, and I'm look at me. But it's almost, you got to go through that, because sometimes it's almost like when it breaks your soul and you come back, you find like sometimes you do your best work.
Yeah, I feel it now. The way, like, it can piss you off, and that's like the biggest motivation for me. It's just like I'm pissed. So
because you have so little control, really.
That
like
part.
What can you control? Your body.
Yep.
You know,
just how prepared you are. That's it.
How prepared. Yeah. So the mentality of I'm a little, and 27, they would say, I guess a lot of people by the standards today, modern, they're like, oh, that's a little late to start. But the game is different for you because you're an athlete, you're in shape, you're there's something to you. You walk in the room, you pass the airport test, so to speak. People go, that guy's somebody. I don't know what he does, if he's in a band or if he's, whatever. He does something that's in front of people. What point did you see that start to turn around where you were like, oh, it's clicking?
I actually don't even know. So I think it took 6 months until I had my first match. And then by that August, so it's probably there about like 8 months, I think we had our debut. And there's no way you can actually be prepared for any of this. You kind of just gotta get thrown in the fire and figure it out. So like our first tag team match on the show was like a Facebook Live. It was like a dark match. And it's funny, I watched it back like probably 6 months ago. It sucked. Like, we were the shit. Right. It was bad, but like, you have those experiences. And I think probably within like a year, I think when they finally gave us the ball with the MC tag belts, like, I was never really sure of myself, but I definitely felt a little bit more confident. And whenever we would come back, like, I'd rather get picked apart. I like people giving me feedback, critiquing me, because that's the only way you're going to get better. Yes. But there was one time when we came back and RJ didn't say anything to us. He was like, I'm proud of you boys. I'm like, okay, we're cooking here with something. Like, we got something. So maybe like a year and a half in, I felt like all right. But again, the way that they trained us too, and I'd be telling people this too. There's two things that like I learned at this place. One, learning to wrestle on the fly. Terrifying experience, but no one does that shit. Like, I have the faith in myself to be like, hey, if I do whatever, 10 minutes on the fly, I got you. I can do that shit, because RJ and Joey would make us do that all the time. And the second thing, starting at that age, I was like, I'm mature enough to understand how I need to like walk this path and figure this out. One, I have a real job in security, so I have the money to pay for wrestling, because you got to spend money to make it in wrestling. And two, I'm not a child. Like, I can adapt and handle myself very maturely, as opposed to like 19-year-olds who are just like, I've been telling, like, y'all doing these crazy bumps, that's gonna catch up with you real quick.
Right. And you don't hear a year one or year two guys saying that often. There's advantages. I was talking to this man. She's like she's a prodigy, Tiffany Nieves. I don't know if you've. She's very talented, but she started late and carried herself in the same way. And I really think, for whatever you may sacrifice from not being around that young age, bypass all the BS of the immaturity. You show up on time. You're a professional, right? And you know, God, like I love that you said that you are one of those people who loves to have your work torn apart, torn to ribbons by somebody who knows who they're talking about. And we probably, I don't know if you still go to him, but I still go to the same guy that we're probably talking about. And and he's brutal. And I asked myself, well, do I want to be a good commentator? Do I want to be a great host? Do I want to have a good show? Or do I want to think that I do?
Yeah.
And that's the difference. You got to be able to handle those brutal conversations where it's like, you're terrible.
Yeah.
This was bad. This was bad, but it'll be okay. But you need to fix this like yesterday. And it's like,
yeah.
And
100%. And like this business is subjective. Like that's what I learned too from being art design. It's all subjective. But I've seen too many people be way too nice and be like, oh, that was great. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Who are we lying to? Like it wasn't good. Like,
yeah.
You're not helping them. So
it's a disservice, right?
Yeah.
I find a lot of times in indie wrestling, the realest thing is the delusion. Because how can guys that I know there was a guy that came back from his first match in MCW recently, and he came up to me and he goes, did you see my match? And I go, yeah. And he goes, thank you. And I go, I didn't say I was good. Like he was just doing the thing that he thought he should do. He didn't actually want to hear any criticism. And I found that there's like a divide. There's people who just want to say they're wrestlers. Then there's people who say they want to make it, say they're dedicated, they're doing what it takes, but they don't really want to make it because they're not doing the things. They're not making the phone calls. They're not doing that extra stuff, the getting advocates in the industry to get behind you. And then there's the ones like yourself who it's like, whatever it takes, it takes, it's going to happen. Do you see any different dividing lines? Like what when you saw people coming up, who were you attracted to and who were you like, it's nice knowing you? Not specifically names, but personality types. Unless you want to know names. I don't give a shit.
Like people that we trained with or?
Sure. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Or just personality types,
There's something that you said. So the person's, one of the best things I've heard was a lot of people play wrestler or you are a pro wrestler. And I use that to this day because I am a fucking pro wrestler. That's what I am. That's my job title. I don't play this. This isn't some play TV show thing to me. This is real life. But like one person that I immediately was attracted to at MCW, and it's funny because like I saw him try out, and then we're like best friends now. Ashanti the Adonis to Hootie Miles, when he signed up, I remember I introduced myself to him, and like, I don't know, we just hit it off. Like he played football in Maryland, he was in the military, and him and I would go just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
because he wanted it as bad as I did. And it's funny because now we live like right down the road from one another. He's in WWE, NXT, I'm in AEW. I'm like, we would have these conversations too when we were coming up in NCW, like what our goals and aspirations were. And like we connect, we get it. Cause like people can have passion for this, but we were kind of like obsessed with this to like a different degree where I feel like RJ and Dean would see that. So that's one person for sure, because we were the people that like, if we were saying we're going to do it, we're going to fucking do it.
It's one thing to have the passion. It's another thing to apply it and turn it into action. The first big break that you encountered, was Ring of Honor, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about how you were introduced to Ring of Honor and how the process went when you were brought on board?
So I didn't even know what that was until maybe a year into wrestling. I actually went to a Ring of Honor show in St. Paul. I didn't know what it was. My friend took me to that. I remember seeing like the Briscoes, AJ Styles. Oh, I didn't even know there was. I didn't really know what indie wrestling was before MCW too. But then within a year, I think and a half, they were having a Ring of Honor tryout. Ken Dixon was like, "Hey, there's this tryout. You guys should do this." I remember telling him like, I don't want to do it, and he was just
Yeah.
like, "That's crazy. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that?" Because I always have this issue of like things got comfortable at MCW, and I was okay with that. Like I was comfortable. I had a schedule. I knew what days I had to be there. I knew what days we had shows. Trying something that was so new and like it was like I was fighting with myself to realize like this was actually becoming an attainable dream. Like I was already successful. Like I
Ah,
did the dream, but like now there's the next level to that. I'm like, okay, that's kind of fucking scary. Like this is
right.
getting realer now. I was like, yo, do the tryout. So do the tryout. 2 days of just Bully Ray, Joy, Hunt Delirious. I don't even know who else. BJ Whitmore. All these people just sitting there. One ring, maybe 30, 40 people. And like you do these matches, these spots, you do these matches, do these promos. And I remember we did a promo and Damian Priest came over to us and he's like, hey, like that was pretty good. Like change these little things, but like you guys have something. Okay. So then we have the second match. And like you're also standing around for like 8 hours in your gear, cold. Then you go do the drill and people are getting critiqued, and you're just like, fuck. I don't want to do
Right.
this shit. But then we got the little Iggy that, hey, y'all, out of this group of people, they want y'all there. Like, oh shit, it starts Monday. Instead of 2 days a week, it's 4 days a week. I'm like, well, fuck, I gotta finesse this with my job. And like we don't even know what we're signing up for. We're just like, you just show up at this warehouse with this ring. There's not shit on the walls. You can't even see outside because it's blacked out. And here we go. So
And that was when they signed you, or you were just training at that point.
I was just training at that point
Okay.
until Joey Mercury came in and he was like, we got to treat this like a real developmental program. And he said, we need to pay these people to be here because otherwise, like, they have no he knew that I wasn't going to quit my job. He was like, they have no reason to be here unless they're getting paid to actually be here.
Right.
So he
Okay.
did. We did get contracts. I didn't quit my job, but like there now was an incentive to be there to train to get paid for our time because they wanted to put a real investment in us and treat us like TV stars.
They wanted to, yeah, the farm system, and that man, Joey was always so good at that
Hmm.
understanding what the boys needed to become
Yeah,
stars.
yeah,
Just incredible, brilliant mind when it comes to that, and going to bat for
yeah.
talent that he
Seriously,
believes in, right?
yeah.
And I remember hearing about you um, from him, and being excited to see the deal, and then it was you and Moses as the SOS, and it was
Hmm.
what a cool look, what a cool package you
Yeah.
guys were at the time. I'm sure you look back and you're like, well, I could have done this, could have done that, but at the time, you guys look like world beaters. Did you feel a lot of confidence in that moment?
uh, I feel like it was real. Like I called my mom and I said, oh, I got signed. I got signed to a TV company. Oh shit. But
Right.
I still don't think I was confident in myself. I don't think
Mm.
I probably wasn't confident in myself in a while just because it's a new thing. I still, again, with promos too, like I wasn't good at promos. And like people would tell you that like, oh, you guys look like stars, but like I don't know what this is supposed to look like either. Like you go to this dojo thing. I don't know how wrestling's supposed to look. Like, are we supposed to be on TV? Like, what are we actually doing? We're just training all the time, but for what? I don't. There's no plan.
There's no end game.
Yeah, like we didn't know what the hell we were actually doing. So other than just taking bumps.
Getting paid to take
Yeah.
yeah, which is it. So because like I know in I was fortunate enough to when there was OVW for developmental, it was like you could go there on your own dime, and
Mhm.
if you were lucky, worked hard enough, talented enough, there was a chance you could get a job. But in the
Mhm.
meantime, besides training all the time, you were working TV and then 3 shows during the week.
Mhm.
Uh, was there where were you getting your reps at that point?
Uh,
And by reps, I mean getting in the ring and having matches in front of live audiences.
Just MCW shows. That's
Okay.
basically it. Like the once or twice a month. Otherwise, we were doing matches in front of Joey, Will Ferrara, and Gresham in that dojo with nobody but your peers every fucking day.
Brutal.
Stressful, very stressful.
Yeah. A lot of days where you go, I might, okay, I'm gonna go home and burn these boots because golly. But you know, there's always and I just it's interesting too to me because while it may seem, and I'm guilty of it, it may seem like, hey man, everybody comes up and goes, you got that star quality. Hey, you got it. You got it going on. What's, you know, and you hear that, but if it's not moving in that direction, you start to wonder, like, is everybody full of shit? Does anybody know what they're talking about? Am I? Because I feel what's that inner struggle like?
No, it is that. It's like everyone tells you that you're a star, and like love the tag team thing. That was like our first little intro into MCW. Like that happened because I was like, hey man, there's this space here where there's no real tag teams. I feel like if we became tag team, we'll get on this show immediately. And that happened. But then I felt like we were, I don't know, like at that time I was also feeling this bug to like be a singles wrestler, but never had the opportunity to do that. And then coming to the dojo, I'm like, okay, we're really like stuck together, which is fine because like I love Moses, like this my brother. But then we were just like, there was no other tag teams in the dojo, so then we were just us two beating the shit out of like these single wrestlers that we have to get paired together. Like, there was no real plan, so I don't know what we were doing. And the dojo was exactly that. Like you watch some of these shows now, like LFG, and people talk about how stressful that is. That's what the fucking dojo was. Not only you going to work and then you're coming there for 4 hours to get completely scrutinized. It was like the military. Like I have like horrible dream
PTSD of it, right?
Yes,
like when you
PTSD. Yeah, because like one time I was on the ground selling and like someone was just looming over me, screaming at me while I had to like remember what was happening. I was just like, yo, I don't want to come back here. This is fucking terrible. Like
if this were the streets, man, I would kill you.
Like
oh my goodness. Yeah. It's it's a weird, I guess what's the upside to that it can't get any worse?
I'm so appreciative of that whole experience because I feel like it hardened me to a point where like, all right, I can get feedback on anything, and I take the feedback in, but like you're not gonna break me because I've already been broken down before. I've seen how bad this can get. I've seen how people can get bullied out of this fucking business, which they should bring back. But like I've been on the worst end of that shit.
Yeah.
We were basically like the ring crew for these people, and we would drive 16 hours, just go set up a ring at 5 a.m. the next. We wouldn't even like sleep sometimes. We'd have like 4 people in the hotel room, sleep for an hour and a half, 2 hours, wake up, go set the ring up wherever, not be on the show, do all that shit, and drive to somewhere else. And like we were the ones paying for it. We would get reimbursed for the rental car, but with like all the hotel stuff, like we were fucking ring crew. Like, and then we're chasing this dream that we didn't know if it was actually going to come true.
That is like, I don't think people understand that when you're going through that period of time of the paying the dues. I think that's a word or a phrase rather that gets thrown around really quite liberally, and people don't really, they think paying dues is showing up to train once in a while or whatever they may it's literally, you are the shit on the shoe for a long time. And it's like this struggle of just trying to prove that you are it. And you're seeing people get opportunities that you go, I blow him out of the water. But it's like comparing out is the thief of joy. So I wonder if that, going through that, do you feel like what did that instill in you besides the I can handle anything? Did it instill this want for more that never subsides?
I probably to a degree. 'Cause I feel like too, like we didn't know what the end was, but then Joey did tell us one day, he's like, the moment you get on TV, you don't have to do this shit anymore. I was like, bet. So
There
then
it is.
Moses,
So you have a
yeah,
goal.
yeah. So Moses and I made it a point. Like we'd go to these shows. We would complain to like one another, but we never complained to people. It was all right. Like we're gonna set up the show. We were like other than Brian Johnson, I feel like it was us three that would like lead this ring crew charge. We knew how to set this ring up. We would be breaking down the ring. We'd go help production because we wanted to get over with all the boys that had to work there who are like, all right, those two never fucking complaining. They always help. So I feel like that just like helped. Like all the production guys liked us because we would help them move their shit. And then we finally debuted and came back. Like we just did a run-in. We beat up Bandito. No big deal.
No big deal.
no big deal. Came back and then Joey shook our hands. And I felt like this is like this proud dad moment. And just like we knew, like we still helped out, but we just like knew that he's like, once y'all do that, y'all are professional wrestlers on TV. We have all these other people in the dojo. Y'all can finally sit down and fucking enjoy the fruits of your labor because y'all have been killing yourselves for 2 years.
Amazing, right? Like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then a different type of mind game begins.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that once you're on that mind game?
Because then it gets a little weird because you don't know how this works. So like you debut, you don't think about who's in control of writing for you. You don't think about like what storylines are, like what opportunities you're supposed to get. So then we were doing stuff with like Bully Ray and Shane Taylor. And there's this ideas of this. There's this one crazy idea one time with New Jack at MSG, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's do that." That never happened, but like, you start learning. Like, okay, a lot of stuff is talk. Like these ideas get thrown around. You don't believe anything to get through the curtain.
Yeah.
But we were also doing MCW at the time too. But it was like it was real. It was cool to see like, hey guys, I'm on TV on whatever local network y'all are on, but we're on TV at 11 p.m. And yeah, I'm actually a fucking pro wrestler and I get to wrestle on TV now. So that's pretty cool. And my job, I always thought this was a hobby until they saw me on TV. And like, oh shit, he's actually like legit. So
everything changes at that point. I myself went through, when I was in college, I would skip the weekends I didn't do any college partying, and I did my stuff at the, traveling on to the different towns with some of those people I brought up earlier. And my, family was just like, what are you doing? Like, what? And then all of a sudden they turn on SmackDown and the guys that are staying the night are winning the tag team titles. And they go, oh,
yeah.
Which is how it works. But because it is ludicrous. If you don't know, like, you can't explain this thing to anyone, not at all. The Ring of Honor situation is so interesting and unique and kind of heartbreaking in a lot of ways, because there was this next crop of talent. I remember turning on my TV one time and seeing this guy, the Mecca, Brian Johnson, and I go, who is this? This guy's this is something. And then the pandemic happens, and when did you start to see or feel, oh boy, this is your first experience where they go, like, we're not shutting down, but whenever somebody says we're not shutting down, something's going on, right? We're probably shutting down.
It was definitely an interesting time, because I think when I got into ROH and like once I started wrestling on the product, I started doing my own history lessons of like, okay, what this was. So at that time I was like, okay, this seems to be a stomping ground for everybody that makes it to the next level, and that's going to be me. So that's how I looked at it. And then you have the group of people that came from the dojo, like Moses and I. You have Brian, Dak Draper, Quinn McKay. These are all the people that Joey picked too. And like, we're in this system, and then the pandemic happens, which I didn't like. We were just adjusting on the fly. I didn't hate it because we're used to wrestling in front of no people at the dojo every day. But it was cool to see like the and everything was home, so it was like 20 minutes down the road. It was great. But I don't think I heard any rumblings about shutting down until like right before that shit happened.
Yeah.
And at that point, like my contract was almost up anyway. I didn't even know really what necessarily was in store. I was getting paid. I was getting paid from both jobs. I was living good in Maryland by myself. Like I was enjoying my time. I think I don't really remember too much. I had the 6-man belts. I think that last year is when I started feeling good, really good about myself because I was doing independence in Texas.
Oh.
So I finally moved, and I was like, I told mostly, hey man, I want to start wrestling by myself a little bit. And once I felt what that felt like, I feel like that's when I was just like, all right, this pandemic stuff's happening in ROH, but wrestling on the field, that's when I really started pushing up myself in independence. I never wrestled on indies until then by myself. And I was like, this is the fucking move. So if this all ends, like now I can hopefully move on to somewhere else.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I know you said when you were first starting that you picture yourself a singles person. I think that's pretty typical. You don't, very few people get in going, I'm going to be a tag team wrestler, but it's definitely beneficial to learn that part. Like that is an invaluable education because you never know when you're going to need that to learn. Completely different animal tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
When did you like what did it give you? What kind of feeling when you were out there by yourself that made you go, this is the way?
Pressure. I think I think being in tag team was great because I was definitely very soft spoken, and it was easy to be with someone where I didn't have to spotlight's not just on me. Like again, very reserved, very introverted. So it's like cool if it's both of us, I don't feel as pressed. And again, Moses is like much better at promos than me, so like I didn't have to really worry about it too much. But then once we were in Ring of Honor, I feel like probably just maturity too. I was like, I kind of like I feel like I got tag team wrestling. We weren't getting a ton of opportunities, but like I feel like I got it. So I feel like I want to. It's kind of like how I got into wrestling. Like I kind of want to challenge myself. I need to see what that feels like. I I only had like one singles match ever. So I need to see what that how that's like. Like, what do you do? I don't know. And plus, I think independents were picking up at that time too, especially after the pandemic. So like you see these lists, you see all these people. That's how they're getting themselves over. So all right, like let's see what that feels like. So I think my first big singles match in San Antonio was like 20 minutes long with this guy, Mysterious Q. And he said it too, because I told him this at the time. I was like, I don't know how good I am. Like I don't. I've never had to do this.
That's brave to say that.
And it's funny because he said in his interview, he was like, yo, that's crazy. I'm like, I don't know how good I am. I've never had this opportunity to push myself like this and do 20 minutes on some indie show where people don't even know who the fuck I am. And we went out there. At that point, I became like a staple in San Antonio right after that day.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I like how that feels. And I feel like that feeling is when I would start being like, all right, more singles matches. And I'd ask promoters, let me cut promos. I'm not good at promos. Let me start cutting promos, live promos too, and just going for it. Because I got to figure out how this feels, and I got to push myself to this next level. And that's the only way I'm going to become great. And that's what I started fixating myself on.
There's a lot of, misinterpretation and people thinking that they don't understand that the promo live in the middle of the ring, that monologue or the banter back and forth, completely different animal than the pre-tape, right? Complete. You're in the back. They don't understand that there's a cadence, there's a rhythm, there's a beat. You're taking into account the people, you're listening what the person's saying because you want to respond accordingly. And anybody we've seen 1,000 times that people who are great at the backstage pre-tape promo, they're like, oh, you got a promo out there, somebody's going to come out there, you're going to go back, I got it. And it's like, that was a fart in church, buddy. But that opportunity to really spread your wings, be yourself, took hold of you. What came next with the drive? You had Texas, felt like it was on lock. Where were you heading, and what did that look like?
just like getting more singles opportunities. Because then Texas within itself is a great spot, but then some out here from people there like this can keep hold of you and you can't get out of here now. So then I was wrestling all over Texas, but then I couldn't get out of Texas. So shit, okay.
It's a trap.
It is. And it's hard to, I get it. It's hard if you're not like a huge name or if you're not like an ex WWE, AEW star, it's hard to get booked in other states because promoters don't want to fly you to those places if you're going to be a draw. So, all right, I'll fly myself out to these places. So I got to go to Defy. I got to go to Vegas. I went to California. I was like, I'll fly myself out. Like, they're paying me my rate and you pay for my hotel, but like, I'll guarantee I'll make the money back on my merch sales.
Yeah.
And I'd go have these matches. I remember the first time I went to Defy and these people are chanting, please come back. And they never even knew who the hell I was.
Wow.
But I was like, I had that faith in myself to tell these promoters, like, I know how I look. That's one thing. People aren't in the show. If you're not like a superstar, you're not going to look like me. I know that. And two, I guarantee that these people will be chanting my fucking name or this is awesome. Like, and I feel like that would probably throw some promoters, but like, and then I'd have these matches and they're like, oh shit, I became a fan of his. So,
dude, you got to be like, if you don't believe you're the star, who else is going to believe you're a star? And it's to find that razor's edge where you walk that I'm a star even before you know it, without turning them off to it, right? Is a delicate balance. And you had a leg up on a lot of other guys, meaning in the sense that you could afford to get yourself there. You were in great shape, but it's not like this stuff was just fell into your lap. You had to work to make the money to be financially able to do that. You had to go to the gym. So kudos to you, man, for seeing, like, that's the sacrifices. Those are the paying your dues also. It's the money to support this wrestling hobby until this wrestling hobby becomes this wrestling reality.
100%. I tell people that this is an investment in myself. That's how I look at it. If I'm paying this flight to get out there, this is an investment in myself to get myself over with this promoter, with these fans, because I know this is kickbacks to come my way. So I've been to shows where I flew myself out, and then I'm getting flown out the next time. Like, you gotta, if you don't, like you said, if you don't advocate for yourself, who's going to advocate for you?
That, hey, happy to be here. Thank you, sir. And did it. The meek don't eat. The meek don't eat. And you see it 1,000 times. The guys that are chasing, it's one thing to chase opportunity. It's another thing to chase attention, I guess. I don't know. And you it's always a gamble. There's no guarantees. You know, you can walk out your first match, trip, and break your neck. But but I think when you approach it the way you did, where you're as prepared, over prepared, and you go success, like failure is not an option. Like it's just it's not. And when that happens, as long as you don't die, as long as you don't quit, something comes your way.
Yeah.
Right. And so AEW. How did you get on their radar? When did that start?
I think maybe 2 weeks, right before the last final battle, before Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor. Funny that we had that Zoom call where everybody got like fired, but we still had another taping and we had the pay-per-view after that. So why wouldn't y'all just wait till after? But whatever, because that's like getting fired and then going to work. Why would people actually give a shit to show up? Crazy to me.
Crazy.
I'm gonna write a book one day.
I know it.
But I got someone pulled me aside and they're like, "Hey, AEW is a thing. Someone said that they want your contact information. It's cool if I pass it along." I was like, "Sure." He's like, "There's only 3 or 4 people here that they want. You're one of them." I was like, oh shit! Like that's pretty cool. So I contacted that person. They're like, "Yeah, when's your contract up?" It's like, "Well, I have some time left, but of course this is over. So like, whatever." It's funny because Final Battle happened, and like 3 days later, I was in Texas having my AEW dark match with Andrade. So it was quick. It was real quick, and I didn't think this was even. Again, I didn't think this was even a possibility. AEW was not a thought in my mind because it didn't exist until right when Ring of Honor was ending. So had that first dark match with Andrade, and like it's supposed to be Kazarian. I guess he had some flight issues. I'm glad that Andrade pulled up because he's one of my favorite wrestlers at the time too.
Yeah.
Sidebar. I feel like people are afraid to be different. And I would watch these dark matches religiously, and I'm like, everyone does the same little thing. I get it, because you're like presenting yourself as, hey, my name is whatever. I was like, fuck that. From what I've learned in training, my focus should be only on my opponent. So that's who I'm looking at. I'll look at the camera. They're to me, they're flying the wall. You see me. I know you're gonna focus on me, and I'm watching Andrade. And I remember I told him, I was like, dude, I don't give a fuck about these moves. I just want to slap you in the face.
Yeah.
Because everyone's having these matches and I want a moment. And he just laughed at me and he's like, yeah, whatever you want to do. So, all right. Because if you go back and watch that, like I watched the YouTube clip, people watch me slap him. He slapped the shit out of me. But like you see the people's reactions behind. Even the commentators pop because no one thought I had the balls to do that to him. And I feel like that's what got me over, and that's what got me signed immediately. That and Adam Cole's match. But like that's what got me like, yo, he got something.
Yeah, because you have to look at the landscape, see what everybody is doing, see what's working, why it is. But the only way you don't become a part of the pack, especially when you're trying to get in, is you really got to get their attention. And I that's, you're wise beyond your years to notice that, see that, and then have the balls to execute it, to go up to, because how many guys would have maybe thought that and go, well, I don't want to ask Andrade. I don't want to do it. Fuck that, man. Andrade got their attention somehow, some way years ago, doing the same shit, I guarantee you, somewhere. So it's my time, you know, like, so he got it, you know. I love that story, man. That's a great story.
Man, funny enough, like him and I are the same age, and like I see him at the gym sometimes. We catch up a little bit. I'm like, I remember when I got signed, and he like popped when he saw me. He's like, oh, like you're here, and I was like, no, thank you. Like we got the opportunity, but you gave me the opportunity, and like now I'm cool with this guy in real life. So
that's how it works, man. Yeah.
But again, like just being different, like even when I wrestled Adam Cole or Kazarian, I told them my philosophy on this. I'm like, I'm a big dude. Like I can do all that cool shit, like most of it, but everyone's doing that. I don't need to do that. But Kazarian was like, yo, let's just have a good lockup. And he was like, what? I'm like, let's just have a good lockup. And I remember after that match, he was like, wow, I told him about Joey and like what the things I learned. He was like, wow, I appreciate, like, that's people are not coming here doing this. I'm like, I just want to get myself over with y'all, because y'all are going to be the ones betting for me. So I mean, that worked out.
That's and that thought process is amazingly lost a lot of times. And I was talking to EC3 about that. Like when he got the TNA opportunity, when they were like, you're going to be Dixie Carter's nephew. And he's like, cool, because I have room to fail forward because the office isn't going to pull the plug. But for this to work, I have to get over with the vets because they're going to make me. So this isn't, that seems like it would be right on the surface, but you have to be a mature, comprehensive thinker who sees things for how they are to get that.
Yeah. I get it. I have to appreciate Joey for the stuff that he's taught us, because like the things that he taught us when getting ready for TV and production, I'm like, this is a TV show. Every little moment, like he's like, if your segment's 3 minutes long, you have this whole, like you have your whole life to think about 3 minutes. Why are you not prepared? Why aren't you thinking about this all the time? Like the flight over, all this preparedness for this thing that you better be fucking perfect at. And like people don't approach it like that. And then again, that just kind of goes into the match that I had, because like even with Adam Cole, I was telling him like, hey, here's the things that I do. I don't care to do all this stuff. I was like, I just want to sell, register. Like you're already over. We don't have to do anything. And just the way that I would sell things. And like, I remember one of the feedback from one of the boys on the, like I did a house show dive and I sold the dive. He's like, oh, I think you sold too much. I'm 237 pounds. If I'm landing on someone who's smaller than me, I should be crushing them.
Right.
Why aren't we, like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? It's crazy, right? Like, and the amount of like babyface dives or even heel dive, but like the amount of dives, like a dive is a desperation. That's a Hail Mary. People just using it like, what? I don't know, whatever. We, you know, we probably, I know we share a lot of the same philosophies. The the contract, when were you offered the contract? And
I feel like, man, probably February. I was at 21.
okay.
I remember getting contacted by CD, and like again, it was another moment where this is the second wrestling contract I've signed. As the AEW wants to sign you. This is before they bought ROH. So people that think that I'm signed to Ring of Honor, I'm signed to the AEW. That's what this is.
Yeah.
I remember we just came back from like a performance. I just like shed tears again. I'm like, wow, this is like, I'm so fortunate. I truly am. Like, I was telling Tully and I were talking about this the other day. Literally get to travel the world and fucking wrestle. And that is our job. Like, so I shed tears that day. I signed this contract. I'm like, man, I never thought I'd be here. And I remember I told Joey that when I signed the Ring of Honor, he was like, motherfucker, yes, you did. Like, he's like, you knew that you'd be here. I'm like, no, I didn't. He's like, yes, you did. But I'm like, no, I did not. I did not think I was going to be here in my life. It's like, I thanked him. And like, I remember I hit a D when I got signed and just like, yo, thank you for real. Cause I would not have been able to do it with all these people in my corner. So
yeah, it's a game of advocates, and you make it easy to want to support you, to have your back because of the human being you are and the work ethic you have. I really think you make that easy on people, and the fact that you're willing to, for lack of a better term, put your balls on the table when the time comes, right? And I you know, and saying in that mindset of, you knew you were going to be here, that's coming from a guy who was hired and fired by, you know, WCW, ECW, and WWF or WWE by the time before he was 21. So his perspective is a little different than most, right? Like, so like, but you get to AEW, you have the singles mentality, but when do you find out you're going to be put in a tag team, and do you know this individual that you're being put in the tag team with?
So what actually happened? So we did like our first contract, then we did our second contract. But we actually met with Tony, and this would not have happened like if I didn't go talk to Toa. So of course Toa has dark matches too. We get brought to DC. I had my singles matches on dark. I'm like, cool, I'm about to get signed like by myself as I think I would. And like, hey, same person that got me to AEW is like, hey, Tony has this idea with you two. Funny enough, I talked to Toa earlier in the day because I saw him. I was like, I just wanted to talk to him. It's like, hey, you did these matches too, like you, and then we just connected. We talked for like 6 hours, and we were gonna have this meeting with Tony. And I just remember telling him, I was like, hey, like, I'm cool with that. Like, that's fine. I did not on my bingo board for this year. I also was in a tag team. I don't know why Moses isn't here. I was like, y'all need to know that I'm not Samoan. Like, this is a big, this is like a fucking thing for me.
Yeah.
And I no. Like, here's the ideas of that stuff. I'm like, all right, man. Like, again, doing this long time at this point, like 5 years. I had a tag partner, but like, if this is the opportunity to get here, let's do it. I told I was like, if we're gonna be in a tag team, I started telling him everything that fucking like I ever learned with Moses and Joey. Like, if we're gonna be in this tag team, this is the shit that we gotta do. We gotta become best friends today. We gotta talk every single day. Like,
we gotta be married. We gotta be married. We gotta travel together. We gotta talk. Yeah, because it's real. That is so real.
Yep. Like, I was just giving him all that game. Like, this is what this is, and this is how we have to approach this stuff. Because I was like, if we're gonna be signed, like, this is the opportunity to become stars. And like, we had the same mentality. So had this meeting with Tony, got signed that day, and then I think we chilled at home for like 6 months. But I get it. Like, they were trying to plan stuff and like get everything in order, and then we eventually debuted at the new ROH with Tully, which that was cool because Tully lived maybe like 20 minutes from where I lived in San Antonio. And again, to me, this is another opportunity of, okay, one of the 4 horsemen, one of the greatest of all time. Fuck yeah, this guy's in my corner. He's gonna teach me everything that he knows. Like, we're gonna do their tag team moves. And like, unfortunately, that didn't work out. But like, it was cool. I got to train with him and Daga one time at this school, and I'm like, yo, what is my life? I'm training with Tully Blanchard. Like, this is insane.
There's no way. Yeah, and the I don't know how to say this, but it feels like there's a lot of the younger mentality or new not even younger, but just a lot of the new generation looks at the old timers, the vets, the guys that drew money, as like there's toxicity there because they used to raise hell and shoot road signs running down the road, and they throw the baby out with the bathwater. So because of that, we don't talk, we don't approach them and try to pick their brains about how to draw money. Well, who cares if they're maniacs? They can teach you so much. And it feels like you realizing that is the exception and not the rule anymore. Do you see that, or is that not the case?
I think you hear it from some of the vets themselves. Like, people, I mean, there's been times too, like you're afraid to like approach them because you don't want to bother them.
Famous last words.
But sometimes even they would seek you out, and the moment that they would do that, I'm like, okay, then I can go talk to these people. Like, I remember after our first tag match, JR was like, y'all gonna make a lot of money in this business. So like, talking to him, talking to Mark Henry, Jerry Lynn, whenever we'd see Billy Gunn, I was like, okay, like, if no one's gonna give us real feedback other than our producers, let's go talk to the people that have made it in this business, because clearly they made it and they're successful, and that's the kind of feedback that I want, because they've been where I want to go. So.
And they've been where you are.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, so they've been through the whole thing. And the thing that we always forget, or the I don't want to bother them. It's like, to keep this thing, you do have to give it away. At some point, right? You're going to be in a locker room at some point, watching, stopping by to check it out, and watching all the young guys, and they're going to be walking by like, should I go bother them? And you're going to want them to. You're going to want them to, because you busted your ass for this knowledge. You can't hoard it, right? So, the trip to Japan, that was important to you, was it not? The tag team going to Japan.
That was fucking awesome. I feel like that gave me, like, I'm pretty confident. I think that gave me another level of confidence, and we got a little taste of that. I forgot which pay-per-view it was. We got to Russell Shingo. Oh, I can't remember the other two guys' names, unfortunately. But I got to have like the sequence with Shingo, and I remember stopping him at the hotel later, and I was like, "Hey, any feedback?" Like, he's like, "No, you're good." But I got to wrestle them, and that was like my first experience wrestling people not from the US. So like, of course, think about the language barrier, but you learn wrestling is universal. You get this stuff fairly together quickly. But then going to Japan, I was like, all right, this is a good test, because the TV is one thing, but like, all right, now it's like our first tour. We're there for 23 days. That's a long fucking time. We have 17 matches. Never done that before. And then some place I don't understand the language. And yeah, we'll figure this out. That tour, man, that's probably gonna be like, if I never get to do it again, that's probably gonna be like one of the best experiences of my life. Because you feel like every day you went out there and you had to prove yourself to these people. Because even the first day that you get there, everyone's a little, okay, they got these guys coming over. We don't really know who they are. We don't know if they're that great. They're not even like that approachable to you. But then by the end of the tour, everyone's hugging. Everyone's like, yo, brothers. We got to wrestle Okada and Tanahashi for our very last match.
Wow.
And like, Tanahashi came up to me and he was just like, yo, you're jacked. He was like, you look great. He's like, is your abs real? I was like, yeah. He's like,
is your abs real? Yeah.
This guy. And just like, everyone was easy to work with. And I feel like Toe and I got into a really fucking good groove. And for me too, I told him, I was like, yo, this is 17 matches, but this is 17 promos live. And if we're not practicing, we're not memorizing anything, you have to do this whole match, the whole presentation of the match, and I have to remember these ideas for this promo. And I'm not going to tell them to do it twice, so I'm going off the cuff. Yeah. And like, I feel like we've got to fucking grow, because there's some people bring it. There's like this one promo I did after that House of Torch, and they're like, "Oh fuck, like you can talk." I was like, I've been able to talk. Y'all just don't ever watch me. It's like,
right.
So That was, and I wanted to come back to that respect of like, you go to Japan, you conquer Japan, and you come back, and I feel like you become like a bigger star, you get more opportunities. Like,
Right.
yeah. So,
Right.
but it was an amazing trip.
In and of itself, as a standing on its own accord, that trip with the Gates of Agony over there, you guys really bonded, I assume, and
oh yeah,
you're like, you can drop.
Yeah, every day, every day together, working out. We had the same routine too. It's like wake up, hit the gym, come back, bus. I love that when you go over there, people warm up before these shows all together. They have this stretching routine. I'm like, that's fucking. I love routine. So this is like how you're doing this with the boys every time, and it was so much respect for that. Like you got your own space, you have all this room. Like you get treated like a fucking star. You go to these dinners, people pay for all your food. Like, wow, I loved it.
Is it more communal over there, where over here in American wrestling, it's like I'm focused on me, make it like, is it more of a team effort over there? Because you said everybody's stretching together, kind of, or
I
am
think
I
so.
miss?
It felt.
Yeah,
I mean, I might have not been privy to like what else is going on because I don't speak the language, but to me, it felt like that.
yeah.
Like other than having like the separate buses for heels faces, like you would be getting dressed next to the champion. It wasn't like separate locker rooms. So Okada's table is right there, and I'm just right here. That's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You come back, and you guys are having like it's tough because there could, I feel like there could definitely be some more pushing and promotion and highlighting, because I mean, most recently you guys had this match with Brody King and and Buddy, and that was awesome. Like it was just wild, right? Like you look at that, just you don't even have to see it before the lockup. You go, holy shit! Like this is the pros have arrived. Like we, when you know you knock it out of the park, and or you're in there with like Chris Jericho's, and you're looking like you belong. Is that reassuring, or is it one of those things where after it happens, then the next thing that you're waiting for maybe doesn't, and it's like, what are you going through internally with that?
Oh, that's a hard balance. Because after that match of the Hounds, Brody and Buddy, I didn't feel the way that I thought that I would felt. Because we don't get too many opportunities on AEW television. So like it was good. I appreciate it. It was fun. Like those are like the only two people that we have not wrestled yet. But it's always affirming when you get people like Jericho being like, I'd wrestle these boys every day of the week if we did a tour all the time. Or having Kenny Omega telling us the same thing. FTR telling us the same thing. Everyone that we've ever like wrestled tells us to our face that we were good. So I'm like, that's reassuring. There's not too many tag teams that look like us. We've been compared to like Legion of Doom or whomever. I know that we're both fucking good workers, look great, look different. And then I just have this other thing, and I feel like I've heard someone say it before in an interview. I'm like, okay, like what's next? And I try to be in the moment because there's been matches where I've had and I can't sleep and I'm laying in the bed at 4 a.m. Like, what the fuck is my life? And then I have other matches like, all right, this happened, but like what's actually happening?
Yeah.
Like I want to be I want opportunities. I want to we have all these matches in Ring of Honor, yet we've yet to have a title shot, which is crazy to me because we're like 20 into like who's beating us realistically.
Right.
So
it's you can't say too much obviously, but it is it is a bit of the math don't math sometimes. And the out of everything you've done so far in AEW, what's been your proudest? Like you look at that and you go, that I will watch that or keep that on my resume.
That's tough. We had a really good match with Claudio and Yuta on Rampage that I really liked. I have to remember that like we've been in the ring with everybody. So wrestling Omega and Jericho, being in the ring with Samoa Joe, FTR. Now we got the Hounds of Hell. Uh, I mean, even Japan too. We got to wrestle Bullet Club. Like we got to wrestle Jay White and the Guns. We've been in the ring with everybody. So I
Everybody.
think that's pretty cool. Turning on Swerve, I thought was a great moment because I got the opportunity to cut a promo, and you look at social media and they're like, "What the fuck? Who is this guy? He can have a he can talk." And like, I literally have producers telling me to my face, "Oh, that was really good." Yeah, man,
Yeah. No,
I'm
yeah.
good.
Hi, hello. Yeah, and it's funny you say that because the end of last year, the last quarter of last year, you made a conscious decision to return back to your roots at
Mhm,
MCW as
mhm,
a singles, and you had your eyes on the MCW title. You
mhm,
were able to capture it, and you were able to have a hell of a run for a succinct block of time. You
yeah,
had like you wrestled the guys that I think you wanted to and that wanted to wrestle you.
mhm.
And can you talk a little bit about why that was important for you to do?
I just got chills. Uh, I feel like it was a goal of mine that I never had an opportunity to get. When I first started MCW, I was like, okay, it's 27. It's like tag belts, Rage TV title, heavyweight belt. And Drawlix was one person who had both the Rage and the heavyweight belt. I was like, I want to have that kind of run. And then Joey comes back to, and he has that run with the MCW heavyweight belt. And I see Christian York come back. I said, okay. I felt like, and I feel like I've never gotten the respect that I deserved at that place, which is crazy to me because out of all the people that have gone through this system, I am one of them that's successful.
Yes. Yes. How
So,
many? It's only a handful, like a handful, right?
mhm.
So
So why am I not talked about like Leo Rush, like Velveteen Dream? Hell, even Ashanti's not really talked about either, which is crazy because we're the ones right now doing it. We both
yeah,
came in at the same time. I want a picture of my face on that wall.
yeah.
So I had a point to prove to come back. And I got that championship and I cut that promo that I've been waiting to cut for 8 years.
You
Y'all can
showed
all
up.
kiss my y'all can all kiss my
Yeah.
ass
Mm-hmm.
because y'all haven't cared that I left, but then the moment I come back, y'all want to take pictures and smile on my face. Nah, it's not gonna be
Mm-hmm.
that sweet for you. So I very petty. But I had a point to prove. I wanted to come back and like piss these people off.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard to hate a guy that comes back, looks
True,
great, has great matches, right? Like
true.
it's really tough. And I know for me, like it was a pleasure and an honor to call those matches and be a small part of what you were doing. And you were again one of those guys who totally gets your business. You're the product and you understand the con business model and the
Mhm,
con business, meaning like you come up to the commentators and you say, hey, look out for this. If this happens, that's what this is. Hey, production, you know what I mean? You take
yeah.
care of, you get that all in order. Guys don't realize like wrestlers are the product,
Mhm,
commentary, production, the ring,
yep.
everything else is a tool for you to
Mhm,
utilize to best tell the story you want to tell.
mhm,
And I'm shocked that more people don't take advantage of that. Now, granted, you have to like at a
yeah.
certain level, like not everybody's gonna be able to do that because they're not ready and they're not in that position. But
Mhm.
you were the champ. You definitely were. How do you feel now about that short period of time and that run where you had those great matches and with those great opponents?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I definitely should have gone. I feel like it should have gone much longer.
Yeah.
But I had some sense of pride. Like it was cool to have vets come up to me and be like, "All right, you have this prize now. Like you need to respect that." I'm like, "No, yeah, no shit. I respect this place that probably a lot more than anybody else does." Like
Mm-hmm.
I have it in my head that whenever I get to this place in my career, I'm gonna go buy rings for this building because I need to get back to this place that gave me everything that I have now. Like I love Joppa. Like if it wasn't for Joppa, I wouldn't be here.
Right.
And it was cool too. And I see it sometimes at indie shows when younger people come up to me and they ask me for advice. And I feel like I'm still very young in my career, which I am. But like when people that are just starting ask me for advice, I feel like it's different because they're some of the people are privy to what I've done and where I am. So they see that they're like, okay, is successful.
Yeah.
He's been on TV for X amount of time and like he's coming back here. And if you watch how I have my matches, they're different than what we're doing on the shows, or people don't really sell or register things anymore. Or like you said, if you don't have people in your career teaching you these things about production, then how are you supposed to know that? So I'm telling these people that you got to talk to these people because you can't just assume. Then you look at assholes. You just can't assume that they know what you want. They're gonna all see it through their own eyes and their own lens. So you got to tell them how you see it.
That's
But it was a great time. Like I loved coming back to Baltimore. I got to live there for 6 years, and then I'm always a little fond of that place because I was at a time in my life where I had no relationship at the time. When I was, especially at the dojo, it was work all day, dojo at night, and gym after that. And my mom worked 7 days a week when I was growing up, and at that time in my life, I felt like I was kind of like living the life that she had. I worked every single day. I literally have maybe 30 minutes to an hour to myself at night at the end of all my shit to like, as if I would smoke a cigarette, like decompress.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. I'm like, all right, gotta go tomorrow. And I did that for like a year too. So just grinding.
Wow. I know I was I was happy and grateful to see you come back and in the mix because it felt like this main event star is these are main event matches, right? Like that's what these guys are working that, and you understand all the shit that happens before below it, and you're like, these guys did everything. We got to go in. We got to just go. We got to go hot, and we got to like. So it's that knowing how to pivot for the whole. You see the chessboard, not just your piece on it. The future and moving forward. What is the greatest obstacle you're facing at the moment?
That's tough.
If you want to speak in general terms, obviously, I don't want to. Yeah.
I mean, I know for myself, like, of course, for myself, one thing that I do struggle is my own like psyche every day. And I tweeted about the other day, and people were like, "Oh, I thought I was complaining." I heard Kevin Hart say in some interview, he was like, "It's the hardest thing to do is wake up every day and work your ass off, but know that you're like in the same position, but know mentally that you're working forward." I was like, that's what it fucking feels like.
Yeah.
And I talk to Tahuti about this all the time, like, and I have to remind myself, like, this is a grind. Like, people don't just got opportunities right away. I get it. AEW is still very new. There's a lot of heavy hitters in there. I hope that whenever Toe and I have matches, that we have good matches, and we keep showing to them, like, hey, you can like trust us out there. You can respect us out there. Like, we've kept up everybody we've been in the ring with. Been in the ring with fucking Ospreay and Swerve. Like, we can keep up. But I think just mentally not losing my mind. Sometimes it feels like I'm just going in circles, and it's hard to feel like I'm really moving forward in something when that's like not being, I guess, like showcased to me. So who knows? I've talked about doing some single stuff, hopefully, and I was like, give me an opportunity at Lee Moriarty. The pure stuff is something I actually really appreciated. Roots back to Cameroon. Like, hey, I want the pure title. Put me in that division. It's a new challenge. I just want to be. I want to be challenged. That's the biggest thing. I want to be challenged. I want to be pushed. I want people to be like, hey, here's a live mic and go figure that shit out. Like you said, I did my first live back and forth promo ever in my career like a month ago. I've never done that before. I've done live promos, but I've never had to go back and forth with somebody. Like, how do you get better other than having those experiences out there in front of live crowds on live? Like, you got to get those opportunities. And that's what we want. That's what I fucking want. I want opportunities because I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to be great.
Yeah.
There's no one that looks like me. There's not a lot of African wrestlers out here. Like I'm trying to showcase something. Like Francis Ngannou is the only other person I can really think of like being Cameroonian. So I'm trying to be that guy in pro wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. And I with your promos too, you surprised me in a good way. Like the ones you were the way you were cutting them, the way you were your tone, your inflection, because you look at you and you expect one thing, but then when you talk, there's a Jake vibe. There's a come here.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yep.
come on down here. I got to tell you something. And then it gets a little unhinged and right? Yeah. Like but it's like, fuck yes, thank you. That's dynamic. That's not just this tone. It's and you don't know where you're going. And like, is this guy crazy? Because he looks like he could be a freaking a model, but he looks also like he might murder me. So I don't know. So it's absolutely I don't know. I think it's so cool to see that. Did you in moving forward, did you think that like what do you see as the ultimate end goal for like your not like what do you want next for your character?
I don't know if I should.
You don't want to do it? Okay.
I don't know if I should say.
Okay.
I will say though, like the Cameroonian Prince stuff is fantastic. Like, right, you get to showcase my heritage. But I love horror movies. I'm literally reading The Shining I'm reading The Shining right now. So that's something else that I would love to like do because I loved people like the Boogeyman and Papa Shango and Bray Wyatt, of course, and like I feel like that could be something different.
That supernatural kind of in a way. God, man, I'm going to tell you off air an idea I had for somebody, and I think you'll dig it. And I don't want to say it here because somebody will either steal it or they'll get mad. The person will get mad that I said it on air. The obstacles that you have faced, that you continue to face, and your story. It seems if they're I should probably ask, but to me, like from the outside looking in, it seems like one of the themes of your career and your journey is that you're torn a lot between two different worlds. Whether that was growing up as biracial and mixed, if it was coming into wrestling and feeling this beating heart of a singles competitor, but continually being paired up. What is the overarching theme of adversity that you find yourself constantly faced with?
That's a good question. I guess I feel like opportunities. That's going to always be an obstacle for me, is getting opportunities. Like you said, we're in a business where we can't control everything. So it's just like getting those things. I said this to my partner. I was like, yo, you're in the game. You're in the game. You're on the field. I was like, I'm not even on the sideline with my pads on. I'm in the warm-up suit. That's how it feels. I'm trying to at least be in the game. Like I played cornerback in college. I at least want the ball thrown in my direction because I know I'll go pick that off.
Yeah.
So like that's and again I feel like it's just like that obstacle, but then just knowing that like I have to wake up. Like, all right, I can complain all I want and I could feel like shit, but like I got to get up. I got to go walk my dog. I got to go prep my meal, go meet with my trainer, go get this workout in with my friend, take care of my body. Oh, I actually got to travel tomorrow, so I got to go fly to wherever and be prepared for that. And I have a 6-hour flight. And all right, well, I have a 6-hour flight. I'll write in my little field notes. I'll write promo ideas, match ideas. Who knows what will happen, but at least I'll be fucking prepared.
Yeah.
And it's just waking up with this mentality to want so much more for yourself, but no matter what, still be prepared.
That's heavy, man. That's strong.
Mm.
I want to bring this up as we're closing. Your entrance and your traditional Cameroonian the garb of the elephant. What is there? There's a specific name, right?
It's the Bimlake tribe. Like, it's just the elephant mask, but it's from the Bimlake tribe, which is like the tribe next to ours.
So different, such a cool look. And I remember when we were talking about like my brain was going wild with mania style entrance, and I was like, oh man, you should. I would have you on the back of a real African elephant with like almost the Vader kind of mask and like the I said Biggie kicking the door beat playing because that just like sounds like actually it's the sample from I Put a Spell on You.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm fucking nuts. Is that look, is that something that you see evolving and being a part of what you're doing moving forward? Because it's so interesting, so different.
That's tough. If people wanted that, then for sure. I definitely do independence, and in Paris was the first time I tried something a little different. Like, because I know that look stands out. I see like, who was it? I would see Naito come out and he'd have the mask, but he'd have the suit on. Like, oh, that's Rush do it too. I'm like, that's cool.
Yes,
that's very cool. So I was like, okay, maybe I can get like traditional Cameroonian suits and do the mask. But then I ended up getting the shawl made. One of the guys that helped do creative direction for The Fiend, I reached out to him. He helped me sketch up some ideas. He actually helped me come up with that idea. So I got the mask made, which took forever because like the traditional ones are in museums. I'm always like, how'd y'all get those? So I got this made in Mexico, but I got the shawl made, and I have like this fly whisk. And I remember talking to Velveteen, and he's like, "Hey, this is how Yokozuna used to come out. You should watch this." So I watched that, and when I went to Paris, I got new music made. I was like, I'm gonna try something different. And it was, again, this is like scary. This is scary for me to do.
Yeah.
So I go out there, I come out with this music, and I ended up just like sweeping the ring with this fly whisk. And in my head, I'm like, oh, this is like blessing the ring before I beat the shit out of this guy. Right. But I did that, and like I took my mask off, and I had fans come up to me after the show, and they're like, I've never seen that before in my life. But to see this cultural stuff and then like see how you perform, I'm a fan of yours. Like, that is so cool.
So cool. You took a risk and you tried something.
Yeah.
And you're in your mind going, I am sweeping a ring right now. This is weird.
Yeah. But I could hear the people when I heard the people. I started it, and I had like an out of body experience. Like I didn't even like. There was no fear. I just did it, and I could hear the people being like, "Oh," and I'd see the people like back up, and they were just like, "Yo, what is happening?" And like everyone was just like, it was like this whole fucking ambiance. I was like, cool, I need to do this again.
There it is. Yeah. And it's it's always like taking that thing that works to the next level after a few months, right? And man, I'm so like, that's so cool that you get to pay homage to your ancestry and do what you love doing. And I gotta think that, how do the folks feel when they see that?
I remember asking my dad about it before I even did it. I was like, hey, I just don't want to be disrespectful. Like, I wasn't born in Boa, but he was. I was like, I just don't want to be disrespectful. And he's like, yo, Cameroon's going to support you regardless. He was like, you are of that country. You are of where we came from. You putting on and representing for us, they are going to represent you regardless. He's like, you have my blessing, and like, I'm sure they'll all have they'll have their blessings too.
Yeah.
And I remember like my cousins seeing it, my dad seeing it, and they were just like, this is like, I've had other Africans meet me, and when I was in Paris or other places, and they're just like, yo, that's really cool, bro. Like, you really doing something that we have not seen before. And like, again, you're a good wrestler, but that's like, we appreciate you. I'm like, that's cool. Like, I fuck with that.
Yeah. You're again checking every box. every box: the creativity, the look, the presentation, the promo, the work. Damn, like what do we, hello, right? Fuck, man. Like, and it's just, there's not, it's one thing to say, there's, they got 20 guys that are jacked, or they got 2 black guys with dreads, or what, but it's not like, stop. We got to stop thinking that way.
Exactly.
We got to, right? We got to stop thinking like, well, we have that, and then we don't know. Like, who is dynamic? Who is taking risks, calculated risks, and breaking down the barriers and turning what we think we know on its head? Who knows the rules and is breaking them?
Right.
And that's you, man. That's you, Kaun. Is there anything thus far that we haven't talked about, or that you would like to, or wish you had, or wish I'd asked about?
No, I feel like this has been very in-depth. People will watch this and be like, we didn't know anything about him like that. Like you said, I'm pretty reserved, and I like to keep it that way. I don't post about my real life too much on social media, because I, as a fan growing up, like, appreciated, like, I've always wanted to know more, but like, I appreciated that I didn't know anything about these people. So when I saw documentaries, or I got to see like a little glimpse on YouTube of backstage thing, what are they really like behind the curtains? Well, there's still a mystique that I don't actually know.
Yeah.
So like, people don't deserve to know everything about me. They don't.
Sure.
For what? This is a career and like a job, and I'm the character on TV. That's it. So when they meet me in person, like, they're like, "Wow, you're pretty fucking nice." Like, no shit. Miro told us, like, to get far in this business, you just be a good person.
Wow.
So, yeah, be a good person, and then when you see me in the ring, that's a completely different side of me. But y'all need. I mean, you're gonna know everything after watching this. But
well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But like, I don't know. I think that there's some art to keeping my cards to my chest.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. I have a nice life that people don't need to know about, and then I can have my thoughts on wrestling. I can share that. People who want to ask, I'll share that with them. I'll help try to bring people up, and then just keep it moving forward. So
I think, and I've struggled with that concept, and I know because it's a business built on not, you pay money to see superheroes, not your next door neighbor or whatever. But I also think there is really something to the fact that the struggle of what you've been through as an individual, and the mentality that goes behind the performance, that, number one, I think it adds to how dynamic you are. It builds upon it. It's not like, oh, we know everything about him. It's oh, now that's why that is happening, and that computes. But even more powerfully, and this will be my last question, I think there are people out there who are struggling with similar things that you've had to struggle with, whether that is feeling torn in an identity, feeling torn, having a cultural enlightenment, being hungry and over prepared for opportunity, and doing everything within your power. And it's like, you're just waiting for it, watching the clock tick.
Yeah.
But they are on the cusp of giving up, or they have. And your story, your drive is, I'm 100% sure of this, is the answer to some of them, is what they need to hear. What would you say to those people?
Oh, damn, I don't know if I can follow that. It's hard to say, because like, I didn't have a lot of confidence growing up, but I had like one good best friend, and that's all I really needed in my life. I've always had just like 2 or 3 people that I was really cool with, and that's all the confidence I needed, because we just kind of had our own lane, and just all this shit doesn't actually fucking matter. Like, at the end of the day, none of it really fucking matters. And I just saw Joe Coy last weekend, and he was like, fuck it, yo, like, people like I get it. People can get embarrassed. Like they can feel whatever type of way people are watching you about stuff. Like who gives a shit? Like honestly, people go to the gym and I get it. They're like uncomfortable because they never worked out before. I'm like, I'm way too in tune to my workout to give a fuck what y'all doing. And a lot of people are like that. Like
Yeah.
I live in this day and age of everyone has to like they record stuff and like post things, but just if you live your life with like I'm cussing a lot, with like no
That's
fucks,
okay.
like that's it. Like I don't care. I care, but I don't actually care. Like you're not gonna hurt my feelings. I don't need to have the newest iPhone. I don't give a fuck. Like if I wear clothes or cheap or I shop at Target, that's just comfortable. I'm saving my money. I don't need to wear Louis V shit because none of that actually matters. It don't. Like every time I hate flying, but every time I'm on a plane, like once I can able to like relax a little bit, I'm like, yo, if this plane goes down, we're fucking dead. Like
Yeah.
this could be done like that. Just be fortunate for what we have and enjoy it. I feel like also traveling the world has allowed me to see that perspective. I was just in Colombia and life was just so chill and free and people were nice. Like there's poverty and stuff, but like people were just trying to grind and fucking live a life and just enjoy it. Like we take this shit way too seriously.
100 years, none of this shit will matter. Nobody will.
Exactly.
We're only going to be around as long as the last person
Yeah.
that sort of remembers us said, "Remember that asshole."
Yep.
I can't thank you enough. Listen, Kaun, you've getting to know you on a personal level and professional level has been really like I feel very fortunate for that because I'm you know very certain that your drive is going to take you really far, and this is just we are just tip of the iceberg with you. But to honor me by coming on here and being vulnerable and being real, that's huge to me, and I really am honored by it, and I think that your story is going to motivate and move people forward, because at the end of the day, once we've reached our goals and we're old and gray, what is there but to give it away to help others? So
seriously,
any parting words, or we good?
You just said something that made me think of something. So
Sure.
This last little story, I've been taking these acting classes for like the past year, and there's this thing called Meisner where you stare in people's eyes and you like repeat back and forth, and you were just repeating, but you feel different like emotions in that class. So this class is all about being vulnerable. There's people that can do Meisner. By the first week I started, like go from screaming to crying within like a matter of like 5 minutes. And my teacher was just like, if you think about it, we don't ever really look at, like you look, some people look people in the face, so you don't really ever look at people in the eyes and just connect with them anymore. So we had this exercise one day where we started with like maybe 2 minutes of just saying, I love you, I hate you with your partner, just staring in their eyes, saying this over and over again. By that one exercise, I was like, this guy's my best fucking friend. And we didn't even say a word to each other other than like, I love you and I hate you, just going back and forth. But the last exercise we did, 5 minutes, staring at this person's face, no words. And I was staring at one of my classmates' eyes and like, I felt like he saw me and I saw him. Like, I feel like I could like see into his soul. And it was like so vulnerable. We didn't say anything. And like, after you do these exercises, like you hug, I'm just like, wow. Like somehow I opened up to this whole class, but I didn't say anything. Like I cried in that class and like got to be so vulnerable just like doing these exercises. And like you really got to see people for who they were. It was fucking crazy.
That's insane.
But like I tell people to do these, I like, yo, do acting classes. Like if you get to do Meisner and stuff and like really get into the weeds with how deep this stuff can go. I was like, it's my teacher said, it's like, this is therapy. This is therapy. You come in here and you open your emotional like chest and you fucking let all this shit out while you're playing these characters, and then you close it and you keep going. And I'm like, I feel like a psychopath. Like,
wow.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, because
yeah. It's
How
crazy.
often do you get, because it's like stairs and then getting over that hump of the
Mhm.
uncomfortable and settling in, right?
Yeah.
That's heavy as hell, man.
Yeah. It was like the third, maybe like the fifth week. And like I cried during Meisner. And you could, when you see people cry in Meisner, you could just, the whole room changes. And I'm like, I can't go after that. Like you go watch someone like pour their heart out because people are being like, I feel like worthless. And they're just repeating that over and over again. You're like, what the fuck is happening? Like just, but like I broke down and people were just like, people cried because I was crying.
Yeah.
Like that's how heavy it would just get in that room. And then it's like, all right, we'll take a break and then we're going to do our scenes. This is so therapeutic. Like once a week, you go to this acting class, you get better at your craft because I feel like this has helped in my promos, but just like connecting with all these different people in class who are coming from different life experiences of people that I probably would not have been friends with in high school, but then coming in here, we're all coming here on this day to do this acting shit. That was life changing.
Wow. Yeah, you see, you're not afraid to. There's no fear in your heart. Even if there is trepidation, or maybe there is fear, but you have courage, and that means facing it. And that's a great. I'm so glad you closed with that, man. That's powerful.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it was something.
What are your, now we're gonna get shallow again. What are your handles? We're gonna find on social media.
Instagram is the KAUN, Twitter's the KAUN. I think YouTube is the same thing, but 27 at the end. I actually just made a Twitch channel. I'll eventually post a date when I'm drop that. I'm literally gonna just watch horror movies or play video games like Spyro or Crash Bandicoot because I'm not like actually a big gamer. But yeah, they can follow me on that kind of stuff.
We'll pop all that up on the graphic here. My producer do that when you. So I'll look up anything that you're not sure the address yet.
Gotcha.
Hey man, thank you so much, KAUN. A man that is had a meteoric rise, but has paid in dividends for every inch of that space travel that he's on to another galaxy and to the stars and the cosmos, because it ain't over yet. You're just getting started.
Not yet. Just getting started.
This has been KAUN on LiMPiN AiNT Easy. Thank you again, brother.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Because there are people there that could and want to crack some heads, but you're not allowed to these days. So
times have changed. And I went up to one of the dudes that I saw. I was like, yo, you look. I was like, I don't know who you are, how long you've been here. I was like, physical appearance alone, you stand out more than anybody here right now. So I was like, you already got that like ahead. Like if you want to stick at this, bro, like you look great. So you remind me of a young me. So
he quit.
Yeah. Oh man.
He did. He quit. I know you're talking about. He quit.